J. Jonah Jameson here. Spider-Man, a psychopath wielding powers he has no right to possess, trying to pass himself off as a hero. Well, let me tell you something, kid. You're no hero. Mysterio, that's a hero. You are a criminal, a miscreant, a masked marauder, a menace. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Come on, man, please.
We'll eat both your arms and then both of your legs, and then we will eat your face right up your head.
Look, man.
You will be.
Well, those movies will all take place in the world that we are now creating for Peter Parker. I mean, there'll be adjuncts to it. They may be different locations, but it will still all be in the same world, and they will be connected to each other as well.
So there is a chance that Tom Holland as Spider-Man will pop up somewhere over there.
You've got to love him, haven't you? He was last seen in the Spider-Man Far From Home ending scene where he exposed Spider-Man, didn't he? Well, spoilers, if you've not watched the movie, I've just ruined your life. So what is interesting is now that we know Spider-Man 3 is going to take place in the MCU, but also in the Sonyverse, seeing as they are both co-financing it. Is it part of the MCU or is it part of the Sonyverse, seeing as Spider-Man can now go from one to the other? So realistically, it's not really an MCU movie anymore. It's just a Sonyverse movie. So we do know official details for Spider-Man 3, which is not really that new, guys. So Pascal Pictures will be producing Spider-Man 3, and she will be involved because she got the deal done back in 2017, I think it was, maybe somewhere around there, with obviously Kevin Feige. So what is interesting is during these negotiations and stuff, we've found out from the Hollywood Reporter, that Spider-Man 3 is essentially coming out the 7th of the 16th, 2021. I know Americans kind of do their dates really weird. So essentially, it's the 16th of July, 2021, essentially. So you're going to be seeing lots of websites reporting official news, stuff like this, but we're going to break down the truth. So what is good is, good old JJ Simmons doing the fake news, the kind of fake news with the kind of conspiracy theory, the Daily Bugle, which is more of a conspiracy theory. You kind of like Alex Jones, like conspiracy theories. Really funny. And when I was in the UK press screener for that movie, everyone went mad, even though we already knew he's going to be in it. So that is pretty cool. So the terms and conditions of the new contract don't really state anything new, other than they're getting 25% and they're co-financing it, other than 5%, which is cool. And Spider-Man will take place in the MCU and Sonyverse, and also he can be in a future Marvel movie, which has not been confirmed or verified. It could be Young Avengers, it could be New Avengers, it could be Avengers 5, it could be Secret Wars, it could be Warstu event, it could be literally anything. So what is interesting is they essentially set up the storyline where Spider-Man, Peter Parker, has been exposed, but now it's part of the MCU again. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could literally just hide it and say it was a hologram, it was AI, it was all fake. So it's going to be very interesting to see where they go with this movie. So what is interesting is you've probably already read it because it came from the same website that actually reported the story. Kevin Feige has hinted at potentially that there are plans to permanently remove Spider-Man from the MCU. Now, I'm a bit confused why people are reporting this, because that is not what is said. So there's only one deal for one more Spider-Man movie and one more cameo role movie. So there's a conspiracy theory going around the internet at the moment that essentially Spider-Man 3 is going to be their endgame. It's going to be like the endgame for Spider-Man. It's going to be his last appearance in a solo Spider-Man movie before he somehow merges into the multiverse, which the multiverse is going to be the Sonyverse, and then he's going to pull into Spider-Verse live action movie. Essentially, that is what the conspiracy theory is going around. It is very interesting, but realistic, guys, there is no evidence. Just because the Hollywood Reporter kind of says it does not really mean anything. If you actually go ahead and read the article, there is no substance to the headline that it's Spider-Man 3 is going to be their endgame. So it was posted one day ago. I've been waiting a while to talk about Spider-Man 3. So essentially it is a very good source, but then again, Are Sony and Marvel plotting a Spider-Man Endgame? Recent comments from Kevin Feige, plus Sony's up-and-coming Madam Web movie provide plenty of clues to how the hero could leave the one universe for another. So essentially, the Spidey-Verse could be created during this movie. Now, that is true, but as we've always said, guys, if there is one more appearance, he would always come back for Secret Wars and could come back across with Venom. I do believe Venom could cross over, although there is nothing in the new contract that states he could come through. It would have to be something Secret Wars. Sony Universe Marvel characters, also known as the Spider-Verse, is expanding its web, both outside the MCU. As just announced Friday, within the Thursday, we learned that screenwriters for the up-and-coming Morbius are penning the film centered on Madam Web. While the character is far less known than Venom or even Morbius, as she is an integral part of Spider-Man mythos over decades, the news of the film development came just ahead of the breaking news that Spider-Man's back in the MCU. So essentially, this article just goes on to say that, yeah, this is going to be how they're going to set up the live-action Spidey-Verse, and he's going to be out after this movie, which is kind of interesting, but it doesn't really give any substance. And a lot of websites are running the story that they're writing Spider-Man out of the MCU, but not really, because it doesn't make much sense, guys, because I'm the only person here that actually has commentary. You know, I don't just read a story and, you know, deliver it. I kind of expand upon it. So what is happening is, if this does happen, then he's still going to come back for Secret Wars. Now, I did post a video earlier, and a lot of people were like, no, they're going to do adult Spider-Man. No, realistically, they're not. I don't really think Tom Holland can pull it off. You know, he's playing the kid version. He can play it off, of course he can, but I don't really think they're going to do 25 solo Spider-Man movies. It'd be better to build the Spidey-Verse. You know, Tom Hardy is signed up for many years already. So I do believe Spider-Man 3 could set up the multiverse through Madam Web, potentially, Venom 2, potentially. I mean, this is not an original idea from me, because like I said, guys, this conspiracy theory has been out there for a long time. Everyone thought that Spider-Man Far From Home was going to set up the multiverse, but that was just fake news from Mysterio. But could Mysterio be the big bad? Maybe, I don't know, because just because he kind of died does not really mean he is dead, and it's going to be very interesting to see how everything plays out, because as we said, guys, Phase 4 is going to be very interesting now. I mean, 2021 will be the first time Marvel's ever released 4 movies in 1 year. Shang-Chi, fire. Doctor Strange 2, which could also set up the multiverse and could also explain how Spider-Man gets through a portal and gets to a different universe. Potentially, they could do that. Thor 4, also. Loki, he can like do some voodoo shit. And also Spider-Man 3. So that is going to be a fantastic year of movies. So guys, Spider-Man 3, are you hyped? Are you going to watch it, or are you still boycotting it? So realistically, the new deal is cool, but the new deal isn't really set in stone. It is a bit, there's a lot of leeway in terms of what it actually means. I'm seeing a lot of things. I get tagged in a lot of things on my Instagram account at Warstu, and I also get sent a lot of DMs for Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man is home. Is essentially, a lot of people are misleading this trilogy. They think the ending of Spider-Man 3 will set up the next trilogy when he goes to university. I'm not really sure what you call it, America, high school maybe. I don't know which way around it is. But it is essentially interesting that a lot of people seem to think there will be another 5 to 6 Marvel movies. Now, a lot of the stuff that the fake news websites have come out with, Venom's going to be in Spider-Man 3, etc., could realistically be true, but a lot of people were saying Venom can appear in Spider-Man 3. Well, yeah, I guess that could be the case, but they're going to revert back to the original plan now. They've already said that basically the screenwriter the director that did Spider-Man 2, Far From Home, John Watts, was literally signed up already. It's funny. The same time the news broke, news also broke that John Watts is in final talk with Marvel to obviously be the director for Spider-Man 3. So it's just one big conspiracy theory. So the fact that they bring the Bugle back and they bring J.J. Simmons back, it makes sense because it's just one big conspiracy theory. So guys, you're going to see lots of stories like Kevin Feige reveals Spider-Man's leaving forever. They're permanently writing Spider-Man out of the MCU. Well, they might be, but he's going to have to come back during Secret Wars with Venom or something like that. So it's going to be very interesting. Now, I don't really want to keep covering the story, but we are talking specifically about Spider-Man 3 here. So like always, guys, let me know your ideas. How is Spider-Man going to get into the Sony-verse, Spidey-Verse? Is it going to be a Doctor Strange portal, or is he somehow going to have some kind of moment like it happens in Into the Spidey-Verse? Because remember now, Marvel are co-financing all Spider-Man spin-offs for the next 45 years, so they will be financing into Spidey-Verse 2, Venom 2, and all other stuff like that. I don't believe Morbius, because Morbius was pretty much developed already. So let me know, guys, how is it going to get there? Are we going to get literally a rip-off of Into Spidey-Verse at the end of Spider-Man 3? That could be possible. Also in the news, who do you want the villain to be? That'd be interesting. I mean, Kraven the Hunter could be cool now, but Sinister Six, can they use the Sinister Six? Now, the problem is, if we don't have Spider-Man in the MCU for more than Spider-Man, they can't really build up the Sinister Six without Spider-Man. But Spider-Man is 2 years away, so it's going to be very, very interesting to find out what is going to happen with Spider-Man in the MCU, what is going to happen in Spider-Man 3. But this is the first official details from Spider-Man 3, although there isn't really much details except for when the movie's coming out, who is making it, and potentially how, what, and where is going to happen. So it will literally pick up where it left it. Everyone knows who Spider-Man is now, so there's no secret. And what is interesting, no one is talking about this on YouTube. If they are, please let me know who else has said this, because I said it first. No one's addressing that Flash Thompson now knows that his rival, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, is Spider-Man. That should be the biggest takeaway from this video. How is Flash Thompson going to react to finding out that his school friend Peter Parker is really Spider-Man? It's very interesting. I really can't wait to see this reaction. So like always, please like, subscribe, and comment, guys, and I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.